Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us for Bear Paws today. A couple housekeeping items before before we move on. Please make sure your mic is on mute. To pin the slides on your screen so you can see them full screen, click on the ellipsis in the upper right corner of the window and choose Pin Video. And also feel free to type any questions you have into the chat window or email them to mcchr@mcc.edu. We're going to address questions at the end of each presentation today. And at the completion of all presentations, we will have a time for general HR questions. So we have an awesome lineup for you today. We'll be hearing updates from areas around the college and all the good things that they've been doing while we've been here remotely. So first up is Deborah Gibbous, our faculty director for experiential learning. Deborah?
Okay, so I'm new to this, so can you remind me, Brian, how to, oh, I see, I found you. I'm going to pin up the video. Thank you. Okay, so yes, I'm the faculty director of experiential learning, and I'm sorry, Brian, I still don't, there it is. Okay, and I have a slow internet. And I'd like to update you on what's happening in service learning. And I titled my presentation, Alive and Well in a Pandemic. And we really want to make service learning a priority in this very and not to say that service learning have a pause, it certainly did. In fact, there were some great projects that we have to postpone till next year, but some of them are so exciting, like culinary arts. We'll have Carriagetown residents, homeless residents, come to the restaurant and learn how to bake next year. We're going to have Sunny Larry working with me and Carla to bring in elementary school kids for a Math 101 day on the campus playing math games. And we'll look forward to Whaley children coming to the cosmetology department next year for our day of pampering. So lots of good things we have to look forward to, but we haven't put the brakes on service learning. It felt that way at first, like someone cut off my arms and legs, but we really got some exciting things to do. We couldn't have our live reception, so the first thing we had to do is get the kudos out and the accolades out to our award winners. So I'd like to just briefly tell you who they were or are, because we do hope to have some kind of a celebration in the fall. It may be virtual, but we'll look forward to what we can do. First, I wanted to congratulate Jennifer Follett for the Champion of Engagement Award. And what she's done is made sustainable opportunities for campus employees to engage in community service. You may know her best for her contributions with Making Strides. It's a lot of work, and we thank Jennifer for that. Another award recipient for this past year was Katie Kaez, and she received the Community Impact Award for her leadership in advancing student civic learning, fostering community partnerships, and building institutional commitments to community engagement. I know Katie works very hard. I've been a recipient of some of her hard work as part of the International Institute, and I know she's involved with the Feminist League as well, and many other ways that she has enhanced community service and engagement on our campus. So congratulations, Katie. Next, we have two more faculty awardees. We have Linda Lee Massoud. Linda Lee has made service learning one of the most sustainable pieces of her curriculum. She is a recipient of the Champion of Engagement Award for providing sustainable opportunities for students in meaningful community service. Her philosophy is to teach someone or serve someone, and her students do a wonderful job of getting out there to do that. So congratulations to Linda Lee. And also, we'd like to recognize faculty who of their own accord are doing service work on behalf of the college. And this year, that honor goes to Christine Hughes. And I know that she's contributed a great deal to the math department for their Adopt a Family at Christmas program. So congratulations to Christine. We have two student awards that I hope you'll get. If you know these students and you haven't congratulated them yet, be sure you do. We have Melissa, I'm going to butcher her name, but Rubayanis, and she is one of our art students, and she received the a Student Impact Award because she's contributed significantly to the campus and college community. I know that Melissa helped out a lot with the Mott Eats event where we launched the Mott Eats awareness program, and she's contributed much in terms of her artwork. And finally, Rebecca Harmon, she is an honor student who received the Impact Award for contributions to community and building partnerships between the campus and community. So congratulations to Rebecca. We had a total of 25 other students who were recognized for certificates of awards. And again, in the fall, we'll hopefully have some kind of a celebration to recognize them more formally. But here are the departments that were recognized for student awards. If you'd like to have a student recognized in a coming year, please do get in touch with me so we can give kudos to your students who are contributing to the community. So thank you to those departments for that. I do want to now touch base on, well, where are we exactly at? We as a community, we cannot give up on serving. And so what I did was I sent out a survey to 40 partners that I've worked with more regularly. We really have a base of 100 plus partners that we could contact. And I started to ask them, well, how can we serve you now in this pandemic? What could we still do for you? And so what I've come up with, although we don't have any formal Mott endorsed activities, you as an individual or you and your family certainly can go and serve in the community. And I just like to be a help to that, a resource for you to find ways for you as an individual to serve following, whatever guidelines are set up by those particular agencies. But if you're looking just on your own for some ways to help our community at the most precarious time, I want to be that resource. So you can see some really great opportunities there. Carriagetown needs some ground maintenance. McFarland Home are senior citizens, and they don't get a lot of visitors, as you can imagine. So they are working with me on pen pals, whether virtual or letters, which would be a cool family activity for some of those homeschool kids. North End Soup Kitchen, they're still feeding people. They're still needing people to cook. The pandemic didn't stop the hunger. Communities First is a wonderful agency. Many of you probably know about them. The opportunities with them are endless. They also agreed to provide more virtual during the summer if some are more hesitant to get out there as individuals. And then the Flint River Watershed Coalition, as an individual or family, I can just put you in touch with them, and you can do a really great activity called storm drain stenciling to bring awareness to no dumping. So if those interest you, just contact me as a family or individual, and I'll lead you forward on those. So I'm hoping that our first potential launch of a project will be our 4th annual back to school backpack packing to help cross over downtown ministries. It's not solidified yet, but the goal is to have PPE in an outdoor event, preferably on the campus, so that our campus could be that service to the community, or perhaps in the parking lot at Crossover. We'll keep you posted. It's all still in the works, but it will be very exciting to be able to launch that. And I know sometimes following the PPE can be hard to do, but when you are doing service, it so overpasses any discomfort or anything that might make it uncomfortable for you. So I hope you'll consider that opportunity once we know more. So what about the fall? Well, we know that we will follow all PPE guidelines for any service opportunity, but I want you to know that this has really helped me and my community partners to think out of the box, and some really good ideas are coming out of this. There are so many ways we can engage virtually. For example, if you're willing for faculty to have a student, individual student, do a hands-on project virtually for a partner instead of another assignment that has some of the same skill sets, that would be a great opportunity for some real world learning, and something I didn't really look at specifically before. Just so many opportunities that partners are excited to still partner with us. And if it is a hands-on opportunity, we will be sure that all PPE guidelines are in place and students are safe and engaging in these activities. So I went quickly because I was sort of a last minute request to be able to present to you today, but I'm going to leave you with this quote, and I hope that it impacts you as much as me. If our hopes of building a better and safer world are to become more than wishful thinking, we will need the engagement of volunteers more than ever. So I hope you'll take that to heart and contact me, and let's keep service learning a feather in our caps and an aid to our communities. Thank you for letting me share today, and thank you, HR, for squeezing me in on such a short notice.
Thank you, Deborah. Is there any questions for Deborah that we have out there? I know I wanted to ask, you mentioned that we could get in contact with you if we have any questions or if we want help getting involved in the community. What is the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, actually, you can call the phone number. I have the app. I'm always answering my phone. It's like glued to my hip like everybody else. Or certainly feel free to email me as well. I'm just constantly checking and excited to get people connected, whether on their own or through Mott.
Great. And Rhonda is helping me out today, checking the email to see if anybody's emailed questions. So do you have any questions out there, Rhonda?
No questions yet.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you, Deborah, being the last minute addition, because you really reminded us how important it is for us to be involved in our communities. And I think right now, especially during this time with everything going on, we lose sight and we think of everybody being remote, but there's still so many needs and those don't go away. And so it is important for us to continue to be involved. So thank you very much for the work you do.
Thank you.
Okay, so next up we have, we'll be hearing from Mr. Al Perry, who is the Director of Athletics. He's going to give us an update on what's happening in the world of our athletes. Al?
Thank you, Amy. Can you hear me? Just a thumbs up, maybe? All right. So I apologize beforehand. I feel like I look awkward on Zoom. I'm definitely awkward in person, but I think I'm even more awkward in this virtual format. And my computer doesn't have the greatest microphone, so I'll also look like I'm swallowing my headphones while I'm talking, so I apologize for that as well. But to start with one thing that Deborah had said, she said she felt like her arms were cut off and her legs. We definitely felt like that in the world of athletics last season, winter semester, when they put a halt to everything athletics. Obviously, what's going on with the pandemic is bigger than sports competitions, but our baseball, softball, golf teams all had to stop right at the beginning of their competition seasons, which is very somber for us. So, but our newest sport, esports, was able to finish their season, had a remarkable debut season. So congrats to those student athletes and Zach Stone for the effort they put in this year. And we're glad to have it and glad they were able to finish their semester. So before I jump into the next slide, I want to talk to you a little bit about what athletics looks like right now and what we're doing in athletics. So first and foremost, our social media has really been our main focus as to how we're going to engage with our fans. So if you aren't subscribing to the Bruin Club Twitter, it's at Bruin Club. Please do. On Wednesdays, we have a Wallpaper Wednesdays campaign going on. You're able to get a jersey with your name on the back and the number of your choice in black or gold. So we hope you do that, and then you can use it as your background on your phone. We also have a first responders. Some of you might have seen this on the portal. We've tracked down some of our former student athletes who are now first responders in some capacity or another, and we've been sending those out through the portal, but also on our social media platforms. They've gotten great traction, and it's a nice way for us to showcase the great things our student athletes do as they move on after Mott. And I'm proud to say, with the help of all the coaches and the athletic staff, we've been able to grow our social media presence pretty significantly during a time in which I think most athletic departments have saw reductions in their social media engagement. So kudos to the staff. The other thing we have going on right now is recruiting. obviously it's been difficult considering everything's in a virtual format, and we're used to doing what is such an intimate practice, right? Like explaining to parents and students why MON is the right choice, and entrusting their children to us. But we've done a great job recruiting. Another kudos to the coaches and athletic staffs. Most of our teams are fully stocked for next year's competitions, and we're
Jesus
looking forward to it. I think the last thing that I want to mention that we're doing right now are virtual workouts. So if any of you have close ties with any of our teams, or maybe you're friends with Alexandria Dowdle, she could hook you up with one of the Zoom workouts that the volleyball girls are doing. All the teams are participating in some sort of virtual workouts right now. So we're excited to see them be able to continue to hone their skills, even though we're not able to meet in person. So the last thing that I want to update you on, which is the next slide, is our approach from an athletic standpoint about reopening for the fall. Athletics is a little bit different since we have a regulatory body at the national level, the regional level, the conference level, and then obviously we have to adhere to all the institutional guidelines and federal and state guidelines and CDC guidelines. So there's a lot of complexities with athletics reopening, but I'm going to speak to it specifically from an athletics purview right now. So first and foremost, we're waiting on some direction from the NJCAA. That's our national body. They'll be meeting tomorrow, June 19th. That's our Board of Regents meeting. And they'll be discussing whether they're going to have paths to national championships for our fall sports. The hope is that they're going to give us some direction, maybe even as early as the end of the day tomorrow, but the deadline for them communicating that to us is July 1st. From what we've been able to garner from the contacts that we have at the national level, we're hopeful that they are going to provide paths for a national championship, and we'll be able to compete, albeit very different looking, for a national championship with our fall sports. So from a regional level, we've been very active in our region. Just for those of you that don't know, we participate in the NJCAA Region 12. That consists of Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana. We've created a committee, and we're very active in its creation, and we're active in its work right now. That's working on protocols to reintegrate athletics into our college settings. They've been meeting typically twice a week, and have been coming up with some pretty good standard practices that we anticipate implementing in the fall. Obviously, those change pretty frequently, like everything else with COVID-19. But it's definitely been a great resource for us to start to build some of our internal procedures. So from a state standpoint, or an MCCAA standpoint, that's the Michigan Community College Athletic Association, which we also belong to. Our summer conference, which will be virtual, is going to happen Monday, June 22nd. We'll be discussing more intimate things like non-conference games, limiting the number of games, what our setups are going to look like at every institution. If we are coming back full force, obviously every institution is going to have standard practices to ensure that we're not that we're adhering to the guidelines that LCC has set up, and then vice versa, right? As an example. There's also a committee that will be presenting, doing the same work that the reintegration committee at the region level is doing. Lastly, to talk a little bit about what we're doing internally right now with our response to COVID-19, we have a subcommittee within athletics that has been meeting 3 times a week, which sounds crazy, I know, but there's a lot of things to talk about when it comes to the reintegration of athletics. kudos to the athletic staff. They've been very diligent in working through some of these complex problems. And I'm confident in the not too distant future, we'll have a very solid game plan that's adaptable and ready to be implemented in the fall. The next slide is simply proof of what I just said. So that's the first page of a supplemental document that we've created in athletics that's about 20 pages long to help us navigate what this new landscape is going to look like. So with that, I'll turn it over to questions because I know Allie and Don Vanneman and Dr. Ivory have a lot to talk about as well. Thanks.
Any questions for Al? I don't have any in the chat currently. Ron, did you have anything? No?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask one question. Tell me a little bit more about the esports.
We have a gamer, do we? All right. We'll have to talk
I
about
have gamers in my household.
Okay. All right. So this was our first true season of an esports team. So the NJCAA is offering several different titles. That's what they call it. So the title that we're competing in is Super Smash Brothers. They compete every Thursday for 8 weeks in the fall and in the winter semester. Our coach, Zach Stone, many of you might know, he works in our IT department. He's done a fantastic job cultivating a very formidable group of Super Smash Brothers contestants. It's extremely exciting. I'll be quite frank with you. I didn't know much about esports as we got into it, but I've definitely fallen in love with it. It's much more exciting than I anticipated it being, and it's given our athletics program an opportunity to get a different type of student athlete, and then also get some interaction between those different platforms. So a lot of our student athletes, especially on social media, love talking trash about how great our esports team is, which is fun to see. But we'll be kicking that back up in the fall without any reservations because esports doesn't have to meet in person. And our hope is to expand how many titles that we're competing in. So potentially adding some of the other popular programs like Rocket League and League of Legends. So thanks for the question. And if you are interested in getting involved, we have spots on the roster, and just let me know if you have eligibility.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Al, for letting us know what's going on in athletics. So next up is one of his partners in crime, Allie Dowdle, our student life coordinator. Allie, what can you tell us about what's going on in student life these days?
Hello, everyone. So referencing what Al said, if any of you guys want to join our volleyball Zoom workouts, just hit me up. Not only am I the student life coordinator, but I can also be your personal trainer on the side. So again, just call your girl up. I got you. We'll get in shape together. So this year is going to be very interesting for sure. So I'll just be going over kind of what our fall plans are, our themes and collaborations, and also kind of touch base on what we're currently doing. Brian, I know you can read my mind. Thank you. God, you're...
I think we lost Allie.
Yes, it sounds like we did.
Al, can you pick up?
So I don't know how you guys want it to roll. We could have Dawn jump in and talk a little bit about NSLS and then come back if Allie's able to come back. If she's not, I'd be happy to jump in and steal all of her thunder.
All right, well, let's go ahead and do that. But we need a little help with where to start in the slides, Dawn. If you can help us out.
Yep. It starts right out with our logo. That's the one.
I'm back too. I'm so sorry.
Oh, all right.
Are you there, Allie?
Yeah, my Wi-Fi is a little janky as well, so I apologize.
All right, that's all right. We're glad you're back.
Yeah, okay, guys, round two. So where I left off, fall 2020 will just be categorized into different monthly themes. So just keep in mind that most of our programming will be centered around these themes, and that all the events I'm going to be talking about can be altered depending on what phase we're in. So a lot of people had a lot of questions on, how are events going to look like? What's social distancing going to look like when we're at fall rally? Just like bear with us a little bit. We do have some alternatives planned out. So right now, September will be Hispanic Heritage Month. October will be our LGBTQ plus awareness month. November will be all about healthy habits. And then December will be National Human Rights Month. So if you go to the next slide, please. Some of our reoccurring events that will still take place will be Tasty Tuesdays, our trivia, bingo, do-it-yourself events, lunch and learns, and coffee and conversations. So for example, in the month of September, we are doing a DIY for Fiesta flowers. And dependent on what phase we are in, we'd love to do it in person. If we can't, we were planning on making crafts and putting them in little paper bags so we can pass them out to students in a safe manner so they can do it at home. Or we would just do this virtually, film like a 5-minute segment on how to do a DIY Fiesta flower. And the same thing with our lunch and learn. So typically we'd love to be on campus serving boxed lunches, doing a discussion. So for example, in December, we do have a lunch and learn about Ben Friends and the Nuremberg trials. If we're not able to do that in person, we'll do that virtually with a discussion afterwards. And some of our special events that we do have coming up will be Coffee, Cookies, and the Constitution. Trino Magic will be coming back on campus. We are bringing back our Pumpkin Smash this year, and we are actually in the midst of planning large-scale events with Kettering and U of M Flint. So that'll be a really fun collaboration that we're going to be starting this year with our other institutions in the area. So that's the end of my slides, but I'll just give you a little synopsis of what we're doing right now. So we are producing a weekly podcast called Keeping Up with the Bears. So if you would like a talking point, just contact me. And if you would like to listen to the podcast, just go on to Student Life webpage, and we do have a landing button. So just click that page and it'll bring you over to our podcast landing page. We would love to have people on there. So if you're interested, please give me a call. Currently, I'm working in Canvas to develop more resources for our clubs and advisors and trying to streamline the process so students can join clubs in a more accessible way, especially in the route that we're heading. We are currently planning for a virtual bear boot camp. Again, that'll depend on what phase we're in, but right now, we're going to plan for it to be virtual. So if you guys don't remember what that was last year, it was kind of like a fun orientation for new Mott Bear students where they could come, engage, interact with other individuals, and learn about the campus. And right now we're still tying the essential learning outcomes back to all of our events. And then we're still working on the winter event schedule. So if you guys are interested in being an advisor of a club, please contact me. We have talented, wonderful advisors that, take the time to engage and mentor our students. And honestly, no one knows this better than our nationally recognized organizations, NSLS and PTK, who just so happen to be on this call right now. So Dawn and Brian have dedicated many hours to their organizations and truly embody the dream advisor. So if that's not a good enough transition, I really don't know what is. But if you guys could take the mic away from me, that would be great.
I feel obsolete now. So, are there any questions for Miss Allie? No questions. All right, I want to know, as a staff member, can I come do a do-it-yourself craft or something project?
Yes, that is what this is all about. I think it's the greatest thing when you see staff and faculty members engaging with students in a different type of level than just learning or going to a discussion. Like having fun with each other creates a whole new different bond and fosters a great relationship. So everyone is welcomed and truly encouraged to come to all of these events.
Awesome. What a great opportunity. Thank you very much, Allie. I appreciate it. And we will move on now to another one of the amazing crew over there in athletics, Miss Dawn Vanneman. She is our athletics account coordinator. Dawn, thanks for your flexibility earlier and jumping in there for a moment. And now you're back. Appreciate it. Go ahead and take it away.
All right, thank you. I'm sure you've all seen stuff that says NSLS or heard somebody say it. It's because we hate to say National Society of Leadership and Success. It takes way too long. So we just say NSLS, and what we are is a step-by-step program to build leadership skills. I've been doing it for this fall will be 6 years. My co-advisors are Kimberly Delish. She has been with me for almost 3 years. I caught her right as soon as she got hired. And Andrea McManaman, she's still in her first year, and she's keeping up with us like a trooper. So we really appreciate her. Students are invited by mail. They get an email, plus they get a letter in the mail. It's very fancy paper, super nice. It's a $95 lifetime membership. They're a member forever and ever, and that's paid directly to our headquarters. We don't touch any of the money. There are 705 chapters and over 1 million members, so we're pretty big. It's just that we're not quite as big as PTK, but we're getting there. And we have 4 levels, really.
That literally just took over my towel.
Oh, I'm sorry. So we have a regular induction, which when the members start, they go through some steps, they get inducted. Our secondary step is just our chapter. We do the National Engaged Leader Award. And then the next step, which is an extra cost, we have about 9 students going through it right now, Advanced and Executive Leadership. So they get certifications for that. But NSLS also is accredited through Advance Ed. So they do offer 3 credit-bearing courses, which come out to just over 35 instructional hours. So that's kind of a new thing. And right now, I'm meeting with a group that we are going through and making sure that it makes sense. And I think they did it for this first year, and now we're kind of tweaking the program. So we have lots of exciting things going on there. Next one. Awesome. So we've inducted over 300 members. Probably now it's closer to 400 because this last group was, I think, 93 members that we got through. We do a lot of things for service. Our biggest thing this year was Gift of Life, and Andrea, as a brand new advisor, took that on with our brand new service chair, Diamond Stalker. And in a field of 20 colleges, we were the only community college that was playing. We did place second. Wayne State was the only group ahead of us, and they're kind of big, so we didn't mind too much. But we did manage to register 118 new organ and tissue donors. 118 is a lot. I feel like we all worked really super hard at that. Our NELA group, which is the National Engaged Leader Award, they worked as a team and made survival kits and dental kits for the homeless in downtown Flint. They gave them out to 2 shelters, which distributed them. And currently, Diamond and Andrea are working on donations, money, and food for Mott Eats. We decided this year we're concentrating on campus because we have so many students that are in need. So that is our thing. If you've seen the flyer out, that's great. If you haven't seen the flyer, let us know. We'll make sure you get to see it. Socially, we're doing a ton of things since we've been out at home, which is surprising because I feel like we did a ton of things before. But we've been doing, we learned about tech stacking, which is super cool. So we've been doing trivia contests on Zoom, but then adding Kahoots. Dr. Beverly's had a great time, so it's been a lot of fun. We're doing Netflix parties, and we've put out lists of virtual concerts and films for our general student body because there's tons of really amazing people doing concerts for free right now. Let's see, leadership summits. So this year we went to 2. We took our executive board to North Carolina. Kimberly DeLish drove the entire way there and back, which was pretty darned amazing. And while we were there, some of our students did impromptu presentations, like just took a chance and jumped on stage and did things, which was exciting. And one of them won a scholarship. And Kimberly and I did a presentation on storytelling, which went really well. And then we took an entirely different group with the help of Clef and went to the national conference in New Jersey. There was a day that Kimberly and I had to go to an advisor meeting. So Sean Brown drove the bus and he took our kids out. And I will say kids, sorry, they're my kids' ages, so I forget. He took them to do a scavenger hunt at Rutgers University. And they met a lot of students and had conversation. They went to the New Jersey Food Bank and did some service. We took them to Times Square. A lot of them had never been to New York. And we did a video at a rest area in West Virginia, I think, which was super fun. If you ever decide to take a road trip, you definitely need to stop and do videos at like restaurants and things because it's super fun. Let's see, what else do we have here? We did a lot of lunch and learns this year. We themed them along with student life, and we did one according to their theme and one according to our leadership foundations. So that was really good. And then our diversity and inclusion, we have a lot of things going on right now because there's a lot of things going on right now. Currently, we're partnering with the Black Student Union and the Feminist League. We're disseminating information and support for Black Lives Matter. We are getting ready to do a 21-day racial equity challenge with our executive board. Diamond is working on a virtual candlelight vigil, which is super exciting because we've never seen one. So we did all download a candle app so that we can do that. And then Gio, one of our publicity chairs, had us all do a video on what being an ally means to us. He stitched them together, and he is putting that out for LGBTQ plus Pride Month support. So I really think that since they don't have to drive back and forth to campus, they're a lot more involved because they can get a lot more things done. The induction requirements down at the bottom, and these are our 2 groups that went to the 2 different conferences, and that in both pictures in the center is our chapter support person, Anna. She's been with us for, it must be 3 years now. She's amazing. She only has half the load of colleges that the rest of them do because she has an extra job at headquarters. So the steps the kids have to do to be inducted are orientation, leadership training day, 3 speakers, and 3 success networking team meetings. And I know it sounds like a lot, but we make it fun. They come to orientation. We do an overview of the program. We play some Kahoots. We do some 3-minute interviews. We talk about the app. It's really handy. They can pull it up and see exactly where they stand in the program. For our leadership training day, we talk about vulnerability. Nobody likes to talk about it, but we got to have it in order to make changes. We do a DISC debrief. So if you want to take the DISC and talk to us, we're happy to debrief you on that. We're really good at it now. We discuss the foundations of leadership, and we have them work on their word for the year. We have a series of questions. We help them delve in deeper and figure out what they want to work on for the year. And when they go through induction, we hand stamp, or I should say Kimberly hand stamps, the bracelets with their word, and they get that along with their kit. We also introduced the Privilege Walk a few semesters ago, and that has been really, really amazing. It has ended up with some fabulous conversations. And if you ever want to join in on any of these, you can find our schedule online and just come on in. We're happy to have you. We do 3 to 4 speakers a semester, all kinds of people: Trevor Noah, Anderson Cooper, Simon Sinek. We have tons of people. They're usually at a college in New York or New Jersey because headquarters is in New Jersey. So it is live streamed, and then we do a rebroadcast later. And our success networking teams are basically a goal-setting support group. So they help you set your goal. They help you narrow it down or widen it, depending on which way you're a little too far. And then they hold you accountable. They give you suggestions. And it's really interesting to watch the goals and the steps and see how they get there and what happens at the end. We've had some really amazing things come out of it. And then induction is the culmination of the work. And they get their certificate, shirt, pin, their window decal, and their bracelet. So it's quite a kit by the time they get finished. Next, please. So we've had a lot of honors, and honestly, those 3 at the bottom in bold, those I think are our biggest honors. Those are quotes from some of our members when they went through their SNT groups. The things they said about it being that our group of people believe anything is possible and back it up, positive attitudes, developing friendships, thinking about your legacy that you leave behind. Those are the most important things. That's why they're in bold. So we do have those. We love those things. We always look for them. They have to do these little reports, so we pull their comments out and put them all together. But then we go up to the other stuff that's, the look at me stuff. So we have we were the 1920 chapter of the year. We went up against 6 other chapters, and I'd like to thank Jeffrey McHale and all of our students that were in the video because they really pushed it over the edge. Summer Williams helped produce it, and it was just amazing. So, and if you ever want to see the bloopers, I think that it might be out there along with it on the Mott YouTube. So let's see. We have members on the National Advisory Council, the Learning Guild, the Scholarship Review Team. We've done national webinar presented at conferences. We've had several students win scholarships, and 2 of our previous executive board members work at Mott now. President Harley Brown in marketing and IA, and Michelle Gutting was membership outreach, and she works with Pipeline to Promise. So that was super exciting. And what do we have next? Oh, social media. So real quick.
Can I interrupt you?
Absolutely.
So there's one thing that we're doing. We don't have the dates yet, but it does fall in line very closely with what's happening right now with the pandemic. We decided that we wanted to do a virtual opportunity for all of our NSLS students. And honestly, it'll be for any of our students. It's going to be resume enhancement. So you'll get one-on-one time to redo your resume. We're also looking at how do you prepare for an interview? And then once you're prepared for that interview, how do you research that company? And then, oh, by the way, how do you actually interview? And one of the things that we're going to do that I found was really powerful in the corporate world is doing a mock interview and recording that so people can see the little weird tics that we have and those types of things. So that really falls in line with the theory and the message of NSLS, which is building better leaders. So there's going to be that. There's going to be how do you dress for an interview? How do you do cover letters? How do you follow that interview up? And that's going to be happening August, September, and October. So if you want more information, definitely with the next slide, check out our social media pages because it's all going to be there.
Absolutely. And our social media group, Gio Cortez Gonzalez and Jasmine Fatante are doing a great job out there. If you want to know our business stuff, that's on Twitter. And then everything else is pretty, or TikTok may be funny. Our other thing that we're really super proud of this for the past year and a half is our chapter at Thumb Correctional Facility. So we have a chapter of maybe about 25-ish guys out there. They do a great job. They work really hard. So we want to make sure we say something about them. And honestly, Thumb Correctional and our dual enrolled students, they're amazing because they have so much on their plate and they're doing such a good job. Thank you very much for letting me talk all this time.
Thank you, Dawn. I had no idea all of the stuff NSLS is involved in. And for sure, whenever I need creative ideas for anything, I'm going to tap you on the shoulder. Oh, my word. Any questions for Dawn? Rhonda, you have anything out there?
No questions currently.
Okay. All right. See, everybody's doing such a fantastic job presenting that it leaves nobody with questions. They just know. So, but this leads us to our final presenter today, Dr. Brian Ivory, who is the director of our Honors College here at Mott and also the advisor of PTK. Brian?
Thank you very much, and kudos to Dawn and her co-advisors for that awesome Chapter of the Year award for NSLS. Good job. I'm just going to give you an overview and some highlights of the year that just passed. Obviously, what just passed is going to be a little more virtual in the year ahead. So an overview of Phi Theta Kappa is we're the largest honorary society for students at two-year colleges. The main draw are access to $90 million worth of scholarships, both at Phi Theta Kappa National, but also at each school, each four-year college. The recognition that all of our students receive, besides the name recognition, would be a national certificate, a key pin, and then they can also purchase a stole, cords, and tassel for graduation. Your Mott chapter is Alpha Omicron Iota. We are one of 37 chapters in Michigan and one of 1,200 chapters internationally. At the moment, there's 3.5 million members in Phi Theta Kappa. So a year ago, Kim Jakina and I, my co-advisor, took over Phi Theta Kappa from Christine and Robbie. And our first job was to get ourselves trained. We spent 2 days at Macomb Community College with other PTK advisors from around Michigan. And then we had to recruit, interview, and select a new student board for the year ahead. In addition to that, we also had 2 half-day leadership trainings for our incoming board. It included bringing past presidents to pin them, and also we went to an escape room. So we spent two half days in training with our incoming board. Our board will tell you a big turning event was LOCK up in Traverse City. It's the Regional Leadership Conference, very outdoorsy, right on the shores of the lake up there. And we had 6 board members attend and 1 member at large. So throughout fall semester, we tried to participate in the student organization events, like the student organizations on the lawn, and also at the fall rally, recruiting new members to Phi Theta Kappa. In October, we brought in a ringer of a transfer specialist, Martha Petrie from Jackson Community College. She is credited with helping students raise more than $1 million in scholarships, and she came onto campus during our transfer week, and she had a really well-attended workshop in the CTL. Also, both in fall and winter, we did IMPTK Week awareness activities. So Monday through Thursday, we did a variety of activities in different places around campus. Each fall and winter, we also offer orientation sessions, not only for current members of Phi Theta Kappa, but for those who are interested in joining Phi Theta Kappa. This one was the one from last fall in the auditorium at the RTC building. It had been 5 semesters since there'd been a Phi Theta Kappa induction ceremony at Mott Community College. I'm really proud of our group. We recruited 94 new members in the fall, inducted 76 of them, and had a really awesome induction ceremony in the Mott Memorial Building auditorium. And one thing at that event, we actually even inducted our own board at that event as well. We do service throughout the year. Our main service places are the Food Bank of Eastern Michigan. And for 10 years running now, we've done the Martin Luther King Day of Service, co-sponsored by the Honors College and Phi Theta Kappa. And we make no-sew fleece blankets. That's always a highlight on our calendar. We encourage our students to get involved in community events that Mott Community College is co-sponsor of. We had students go to the MCC Meets the FIA in the fall. And then we were also invited to go to the Flint Symphony back in February. We were able to join Dr. Graffia and go behind the stage during the break to meet some of the musicians. That was a nice outing for Phi Theta Kappa. We select every year 2 Michigan academic team representatives. This year we had 5 applications. A couple faculty members on campus selected Christian Rodriguez and Montana Bishop to represent our chapter at the All Michigan Academic Team. And they had a beautiful ceremony in East Lansing. So that was March, and then you know what happened in March. And we then kind of moved to virtual activities. We were not able to go to the, they were actually not able to hold the national Catalyst National Convention in Dallas, but we had applied for a Hallmark Award to recognize the leadership of our student board. And Mott Community College's chapter, Phi Theta Kappa, was selected as one of 31 chapters for the Distinguished Chapter Board Team Award. Again, only given to 31 of the 1,200 chapters around the globe. Down there in the corner was a photo of Dr. Graffia joined us for our watch party, so we did that virtually. We also were unable to do the Michigan Regional Conference, which is another conference held virtually this year, probably in lieu of the national award that we received. We did receive the same award for the state of Michigan. We were the top recipient for that award as well. So a little bit more information about Phi Theta Kappa. You become a member by completing 12 credits with a 3.5 GPA or higher. Those students each semester who are qualified to join Phi Theta Kappa receive a letter from our chapter, and they also receive an email from PTK National. Like NSLS, there is an induction fee. It's $85, and that's for lifetime membership in Phi Theta Kappa. We hold orientations twice a year, and at our induction ceremonies, we bring in keynote speakers. Each person gets a certificate and a t-shirt, and that's the nature of our induction ceremony. Some of the benefits, we think the name recognition, Phi Theta Kappa, speaks loudly when students apply to four-year colleges. They mentioned that their student involvement was with Phi Theta Kappa, amongst other activities. Clearly, access to scholarships is really important. A lot of schools have established Phi Theta Kappa scholarships for anyone who is a member. So, for example, U of M Flint, it is $500 renewable for a second year. Oakland University, it's $1,500 renewable for a second year. And Kettering is $15,000 renewable for a second year. And the only qualification to receive those scholarships is to be a member of Phi Theta Kappa. A couple other training programs that are available that are optional, but that do not cost any money through Phi Theta Kappa are PTK Edge for employment and PTK Edge for transferring. There's also a student leadership component through Phi Theta Kappa that students can enroll in and graduate from. And we also like to think that being a member of our student board is also a great leadership opportunity for our campus students. With that in mind, we have already selected our 2020-2021 board. I'd like to introduce them to you quickly. McKeely Diaz is our new president. The person responsible for Hallmark Awards and Chapter Affairs is a dual enrolled student, Luke Consman. Aaron Moore will be assisting us with service and fundraising. Faith Raber will be in charge of induction and membership. Hunter Stevens, public relations and outreach. Annette Tipton, who happens to be the mother of Peyton Tipton, our previous president. She'll be responsible for recruitment and orientation. And Arlie Weisenball will be helping us with transfer and scholarships. We did earlier this week have our first get together, get acquainted. It was virtual. So that was our first meeting with our new board, and McKeely led us through an activity we all know well called 3 Truths and a Lie. So we're looking forward to the year ahead. We know we've got some challenges as it relates to the reopening and PPE and navigating those guidelines, but we think our new board is ready and willing to go. So with that, I'll hand it back, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Brian. Any questions for Brian about PTK and our Honors College? Anything out there, Rhonda? Oh, Dawn says great presentation. I agree, Dawn.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I don't think that we have any questions, but I do want to take a minute to say to all of our presenters, thank you very much for the passion that you have to work with our students. It's very evident in the presentations that you gave. You can hear that passion. And when you're passionate about something, we know it makes that much more difference in the students' lives because they can tell. So thanks for what you're doing with them. And thanks for educating us today, because I think a lot of times we don't always understand what's going on in the background behind the scenes, but this really gave us a good look into it. Thank you.
Amy, there was one question for Al that came in.
Great.
They would like to know if he could repeat the jersey item details. I believe that might have been for esports, possibly.
It's actually a social media campaign that's kind of taken off nationwide. It's on our Twitter account. If you have Twitter, you go to @BruinClub. That's our handle. And on Wednesdays, you can make a request that way. However, if you're not on the Twitter sphere, is that a thing? Is it Twitter sphere? I'm not sure. And you still want one, just shoot me an email and I'll make sure that we get one made up for you and sent over. Just, don it proudly on whatever electronic device that you're going to use it.
Thanks, Al.
Thank you. Oh, Allie would like to know if Al can get us all free athletic t-shirts. I'm pretty sure I know the answer to that.
Ironically, I can get everyone free athletic virtual t-shirts. I will find virtual t-shirts for everybody and we'll make sure they get them. Certainly.
Perfect. Okay. Any other questions, Rhonda?
No other questions.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. We have just a very couple minutes left. So if there's any other HR related questions or something that HR can help with that we can answer, now is a great time to ask that. So email or chat us real quick and we'll see what we can do. If we don't have time to answer here, we can follow up with an email to you later. Or questions about anything at all. No questions? Okay. Well, I would like to thank everybody again for hanging out with us this afternoon, and please have a safe day and enjoy the sunshine, and hopefully we'll see you next week on Thursday.